pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Corey, seconded by Bob to approve the agenda. Corrections, changes? Shelley? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. I assume that most folks in the room here now are here for the conversation on the EMA Commission's request to have a different Board of Supervisor represent them. Under advice from the county attorney, if you wish to comment on that, you'll have to comment in the public comment section and not during the time where we're discussing that line item. That line item is an administrative matter, and he's telling me that no one is allowed to speak during that time period. So anybody wishing to speak on that line item at this time, you're limited to 2 minutes, and we're willing to do so.
Yeah, I'd like to address the board. I had attended this meeting.
Can you come up here by the microphone so everybody can hear you? Once again, we're online.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. All meetings are on YouTube, and you have to be closer to the mic in order to be heard. Thanks, Bob.
My name is Mike Lacoste. I live here in Waverly. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I attended the EMC meeting at the city building. And I'm kind of appalled the way it was conducted. I guess I questioned when it came to the hiring of Aaron, which I don't know. I don't know Bridget Edson. But the way this was handled, and my question is, as a taxpayer of Bremer County and Waverly, I'd like to know, and I didn't get the answers, if there's nobody guilty or innocent on this, why is Bremer County paying $200,000 to Bridget Edson on a lawsuit? I can't get any answers. So if we can't get the answers, maybe we need to put this on the agenda to sort this out. Can anybody respond to me?
By law, we can't respond to you, Mike,
So do I have to go through FOIA?
or make a request to come on as an agenda item.
Well, I think that's what needs to be done. I've known Corey for many years. To have this kind of blacklisted Corey, I think it's appalling. Corey does a good job. This whole thing is done by the rules and regulations of the state. We can't make up our rules and regulations when we don't like something. It's like the old cliche, I'm going to take my football and go home if I don't get my way. And I'd like to get some answers. If we're paying out $200,000 on a lawsuit as a taxpayer, I think we the people need to understand that. Our elected officials work for we the people. I don't work for you guys. So I'd like to get some answers. So where do we go from here? Dan Pickett, can you answer any of these questions?
I can talk to you after.
Well, I tell you what, talk about corruption. I've always said, if you want answers, you got to go at the local level. There's so much corruption at the state and federal level. I want answers at the local. I can't even get answers at the local level anymore.
Time.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Your time is up.
Good morning, Steve Worthman, Sumner. I'm a 71-year resident of Bremer County. First of all, I want to give you kudos for the way you handle the personal property rights and the way you handled the eminent domain and CO2 pipeline. However, a countywide opening came up in the county, and a plea was sent out for applicants, along with the list of qualifications required for the position. One candidate had all the qualifications required, but we didn't want to hire that person. Another candidate did not have the qualifications as set out, did not have the criteria. We'll hire that person. And then if anybody notices, we'll change the rules afterwards. Well, somebody noticed. A courageous whistleblower said something like, this isn't kosher. If this isn't illegal, opening the county up for litigation, at least it's unethical. So now what do? We get rid of the whistleblower. So, you got the property rights right, but this is wrong. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Next thing up in our administrative, excuse me, I guess 2 minutes also for anybody that wishes to speak on the upcoming change of rezoning for the two properties. One is Lau and one is Holbach. Does anyone wish to speak on those two? If you don't speak now during the 2-minute time period, you will not be allowed to speak during that portion of the conversation.
So you're not opening a hearing at 9:15?
We're not having another public hearing, we're simply having a second reading, according to the code.
So you're not going to wait till 9:15 for the comments?
You'll have to make a public comment at this time. We'll take that into consideration after, at our 9:15 conversation when we do the administrative part, or when we do the second reading of it, but and I'm basing this on information from the county attorney, that we cannot allow people to make comments. You're allowed to make a public comment for 2 minutes.
Even when there's new information?
Do you want to make a 2-minute comment?
We have new information we'd like to share.
Please share it in your 2-minute time link.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Weiss. I'm 1901 Dakota Avenue. I live adjacent to the proposed property change. I have a couple comments and I'll try to make them brief. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for 25 plus years. Education decisions are based primarily on research and data. I'm concerned about the proposed subdivision, the lack of data. I would formally request some sort of a fiscal study stating that this is not going to be a burden on the taxpayers. One question I have is recently, within the last couple of years, $370,000+ was spent to resurface Shiloh and Shelby Ridge additions. I don't know where that money came from. I can't say, but that also was paid for by taxpayers from somewhere. Zoning exists. The homeowner stated he has rights. Zoning exists to protect the community. It protects the landowner. It protects adjacent property owners. I would expect that in this case, we would be protected. I don't think anybody's against future development, but the thing is I think there's better places to do that. We're looking at a piece of agricultural land here that is pretty decent. It's flat somewhat. I'm thinking in the back of my head, there's a new school that's built on the north edge of Waverly. That would be an ultimate place for houses. Whether it be to the south of there, which I think Hopple owns, or even to the north towards the church. There's great rolling hills there that would be a great location for houses, close to city services. Water. Mr. Selinsky said there was a water study. The water study has conflicting information in my sense. It says 8 lots. The homeowner states maybe 10, maybe 12. How is that data going to change when the lots coincide with each other? I would expect that we would want to know for sure what this data represents before we proceed. Let's not go back like we did on the current property that he lives at, that one sense when we first rezoned it, there's 4 lots and now all of a sudden we need to have 5. Another thing that really is concerned that shouldn't be overlooked, the plot that I saw in the water study goes to a dead-end street. That makes it difficult for emergency vehicles, county road maintenance, any other services that have to be rendered. A properly planned plot would have a cul-de-sac. Otherwise, we're looking at, or is this gonna continue, or are we gonna go north with this? Are we gonna make it a through street? Is this street gonna be a fully private street?
Okay, your time is up.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next.
I guess I'll make a few comments. First of all, there were some things said last week that I wanted to clarify, plus I've done a whole lot of research of my own, similar to what Ryan is talking about. First comment I'll make is this is not about no neighbors in my backyard, and it has never been that. This is about protecting agriculture ground, as our comprehensive plan says we should do. When the housing addition went into Shelby by the river, who came forward and objected to it? Nobody. When the woods were zoned where Sprats live, did we come and object to that? No, we did not. And it's right next to our property. This is about preserving the ag ground. Your comment about why it went back to A1 was because of out of respect for the deceased. We have the history out there. We know what Mert Anhalt wanted to have happen. The fact that he put the field tile in, which I understand is north of this property, the fact that he put that in with restrictions tells you a little bit about what Mert wanted. So this is not about not in my backyard. This is about preservation. And it also is about the fact that we don't really need the housing right now. There's over 50 rural lots in Bremer County for sale. This is not a necessary thing right now. But preserving the ag ground certainly is important. And Bob, I know your history of conservation, working with the Boy Scouts, conserving Camp Ingawanas, you have a long history of that. This is the same thing. Bruce Gipple told you what he's done on his property for the last 50 years. It's conservation. Ag ground is conserving too. I mean, maybe we should have somebody from the ethanol plant and the soybean plant come over and say, hey, wait a minute, we need product, keep this ground. Your comments about traffic, Dewey, there's just no comparison to the last 14 years of what might be happening in the next 14 years because of the stuff that's been going on in Shell Rock. And the ground.
Thank you, Kathy. Your time is up.
Boy.
I'll give up my time. Because you don't want to hear my time. So
I'd prefer to hear your time.
I have to send this out. I'm sorry. This is a direct response from Todd Rosendahl about the letter of support that you received. It was not a letter of support. And he wanted to clarify that with all of you. So I'm going to give that to you right now.
Please do. Thank you. Next.
Good morning.
By the way, please state your name so Shelley can get it.
Wendy Brazzi, 1271 130th Street, Plainfield. I am before you today because I'm on your Planning and Zoning Commission. I grew up in this area. I care about the people in this area. And that is why I became part of Planning and Zoning, as I have a strong background in agriculture and conservation. I'm a conservation major. Since I've been on Planning and Zoning, it has come to my attention that everything that we have declined, you guys have approved. And I guess recently we did agree on a solar farm that south of Denver, in the Denver Hills. We both agreed that, that's the first time since I've been on the board or the commission that we have actually come together and made an agreement. I've been on there for, I think, over a year now. I do have concerns that no one on the supervisor board is engaged in farming or agriculture. As a farmer in the county, I know how hard it is to find new farm ground to farm. I have 2 young boys at home, and they would like to farm just like their father. But we all know how challenging it is to find land for them to do that. Our comp plan is a 50 CSR, and to me, I still don't agree with that, because I currently farm some 50 CSR dirt and lower. Bremer County is home to some of the most fertile ground in the world. And as far as I know, you guys are trying to review the comp plan because you want to get rid of that 50 CSR standard. And I don't agree with that as well. But it's my understanding also that the comp plan probably will not change because there are standards within the state of Iowa that we have to maintain. Currently, the U.S. population is declining, or it's increasing, but at a decelerated rate. And the projections of the population is declining.
Thank you. Next.
You got, if she has, you want to give that, you got the rest of your speech?
You can.
You allow me to go?
No, you can turn it into us and we can put it as part of the records.
Thank you, Wendy.
If that's the case, can I give you mine too?
Please.
And then I have some research here from Iowa State that I'd like to look at.
Is that different than what you've already sent to us, Ryan?
No, it just kind of, just supports it.
Okay. Yeah.
Hold on information
I wouldn't mind speaking
Please,
when it's time.
please state your name.
Yeah. I'm Lyle Rasmussen. I've lived out there on C-33 for 54 years. I lived, well, first Mert was he farmed the land on the north of me and on the west of me. Then he moved in and lived west of me. I was his neighbor for several years, and we had many visits, but he really believed in the farmland and the environment. And that pretty much was the way. He actually came and asked me about building there before he built, which was very neighborly, I thought. And then when he passed away, Edna was more into the money part of it. And then J.D. Francis and her were both into the money, so they wanted to develop it to make more money, which I can understand. He actually would have stayed in the farmhouse, he said, if he hadn't done it for his wife. I mean, and we do a lot of things for our wives, but I think that generation had a different feeling for the farmland, the people that farmed, than the current generation, which I grew up on a farm. I didn't farm, but Mert and that generation had a different feeling for that, I think. But anyway, we always hear that we want to develop things so that we can have more money to pay for all the services we need, and I don't think that really always works out. It seems to me like, in general, the taxes are cheaper in the counties that have not developed as well. For instance, in Butler County, I think the same house has less taxes than Bremer. In Bremer, the same house has less taxes than in Blackhawk. So the development, and I know a lot of people are for all the development stuff, but I guess I don't really buy that. I guess I'm not into that. But I do have one more. Can I have two more? Just a couple more things. Is there a?
Sorry, your time is up. Sorry.
I can't ask you if there's a plan for how you're.
We can't respond.
Oh, you can't respond at all?
We can't.
Okay.
Nick?
Mick Weiss from Waverly. A lot of good comments shared here today. I mean, nobody's being brutal or anything like that, but I guess, you know, we're talking about A2 ground. A2 ground that was bought by the Hall Box, and they knew that when they bought it. That was A2 ground, row crop ground. Years ago, you guys were supported by civil lawsuits in it, and civil lawsuits in which the courts agreed that it should be preserved as A2 ground. Or A1, I meant to say A1, apologize on that. But now we're kind of going past that with comprehensive plan. We're saying that it shouldn't exist anymore, that we preserve ground. You know, Wendy made some very good comments on how hard it is to find any ground anymore for like her children to do it. And so we all look at that and we get a little optimistic and a little nervous about that disappearing. You know, we got to feed the world. The world's becoming shorter and shorter on food because the population is growing. We got to support ethanol. We got to support soy oil. soil, look at the plants in Butler County and ethanol plants that take it every day. I really appreciate your time, but I really think you need to look at the purpose of what that farm was made for. A lot of people have made a lot of good comments, and I agree with them 100%. Nobody opposes to a housing addition if it's done properly and all the facts are covered, and we all know what we're buying into. Thank you.
Anybody else?
If I may.
Please.
I'm Craig Codner with the Butler County REC. I'm the CEO there at the REC. As you guys could see, I sent a letter of support to this project, and I want to explain why. Within our strategic plan, we have focused on economic development since the 80s. In doing so, with that economic development, we've developed 6 industrial parks and we serve 4 municipals. Part of the problem with our economic development is available workforce. I've said this many times over the last couple years that we want our service territory, which includes Bremer County, to be an importer of jobs rather than an exporter of jobs. In doing so, part of that strategy is to make sure that that workforce development is there and ready to go if we land a project. Part of that includes workforce housing, and that's the main reason why we support workforce housing within our service territory. Sometimes you have to look at it from the perspective of the homes that are being built are maybe not starter homes, but maybe someone that was in a starter home is ready to advance to that next level, can purchase the house that the other individual is selling. We want to sell kilowatt hours. We do a very good job of selling kilowatt hours. The more kilowatt hours we sell, the cheaper it is for everybody. So we just continue to promote economic development and want to see our service territory in Bremer County grow. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Henry Schwartz.
Please state your name.
Henry Schwartz,
Thank you.
owner of Framey, Iowa. I guess I believe in freedom of property ownership, and I think that Mark and Wendy should be able to do with their property what they want to do with it. As a business owner, contractor, builder, I welcome all the business that these homes would bring, and I know there's a lot of other contractors in the area that feel the same way. I think that we need more driven, motivated folks such as Mark and Wendy to make these things happen, get these developments rolling to keep the economy booming in this area, and to keep the housing market where it is. We need that to get in this community.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Got one, Dewey.
Got a couple more. Tim, go ahead. Well, please do state
What's my
your name.
timeline anyway?
2 minutes.
Holy smokes. I got 20. Anyway, Tim Spratt, I live adjacent to the property. I guess my 2 minutes is gonna have to be really fill in the blanks. Mr. Hildebrandt, you brought up the town of Independence and Buchanan County. So I ran with that just a little bit, and I looked at their comprehensive plan. They have the same thing noted in there, no leapfrogging. Okay, minimize that. They did expand, Independence, Iowa, expanded Highway 20. That's what it's supposed to do. The town expanded. I have maps here that shows the expansion of their city limits. Now these people are within the city limits, incorporated areas. They have water, they have sewer, which are some of the big issues that we're going to incur out here. And that's the natural progression. Unfortunately, that also eats farmland. I agree 100%. Waverly's going to do the same thing. I look at the map behind you and see how Waverly has grown, what it's proposed. I also see all the little specks around the leapfrogging, which we said we weren't going to do. It's been in the comprehensive plan forever. I'm a little disappointed with Mr. Brunkhorst being the representative from Waverly and encouraging the tax dollars to go Bremer County. Well, I looked at the tax situation myself a little bit. If you're in the rural area, you're paying 36.55%. If you're incorporated in town, you're paying almost 14% of your revenue is going to the county as well. So you take a 3-acre lot out in the country and sell it to somebody, you're getting your 36%. But if you take that same 3-acre lot and you make it, that 3-acre lot, and turn it into single-acre lots within the incorporated area where you have water and sewer and power, those 3-acre lots are going to bring in that 13%. You're going to make up your difference there. That's the natural growth. There's many areas around Waverly that are already platted for natural growth of the community, not out in the middle of a cornfield someplace or wherever in the county. I said, so it'd be a comparison to Buchanan County, I think is kind of unfair. I think we should be the leader in this end of things on saving the agricultural land, okay? I understand REC, I'm a customer. By the way, the electric rates never go down.
You can certainly submit any written documentation you have if you wish. There was one more out in the hall somewhere.
My name's Chris Wilson. I moved out here 5 years ago. I'm on that same strip of road that they're trying to build this this piece of land on. As a homeowner, it took me like 6-7 months to find a decent place to live that isn't in town. I support building places for people to raise their families where they're not living right next to somebody. And the other thing I understand about all this is a farmer owned that farmland and sold it to a non-farmer. Why did he do that if the farmland was so good? I don't think it is that good. And if Mark wants to do what he wants to do on his land, that's his business, that's his land. Who am I to say no to that? And that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm going to stand. Michael Aubrey. I live in this vicinity. Lived there since 1970. I want to thank Bob Brunkhorst for reaching out to me over the weekend and having a conversation with me concerning these things. The only thing I would add to this conversation is for this board to go into the State Geological Survey and see how many of these sinkholes and that persist in here. And the last thing that I want to note, I would encourage you as followers of Jesus to go in your Bibles and look at and read Proverbs 1:5. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance in all that they do. And I thank the board.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else?
I have a map from the Geological Society about sinkholes, and please add this to my notes.
Anyone else? Please.
My name is Mary Biney. I live in the area. I'm just curious, at what point do we stop taking farm ground out of production? I mean, if Mark wants to do 30 acres, why not let him do 3,000? Because there's nobody here that I can see that's going to stop him from just continuously developing land and taking it out of production. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff, would you see if anyone out in the hall wants to make...
I've checked, Dewey. You're good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Lindsay, we're going to take a 15-minute recess. I'm going to make copies of this. I'm going to disseminate it all to the board so that they have an opportunity to look through it before we reconvene to discuss the item as an agenda item. And we'll take up Lao at that time as well.
Okay, I'll let them know.
I hope the new courthouse is a better forum for these kinds of things. A real inhibitor to communication.
Oh, yeah. Court of Appeals did. No. And so, no, I'm good with that.
Well, I guess I
Got
do.
my
It's
guy.
not very
But it is, it makes sense. And they brought it.
How long have we been a sheriff?
We don't have to use just process. Yeah. So make it. So that's a good thing. And doing very cumbersome. But yeah. And Supreme Court kind of made it a lot more streamlined. Because even I recognize that. Yeah, one of those things like, sorry. So no, that's the thing. Like we were all waiting on that kind of. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, but yeah, no. To the department. Right. I honestly, you know, think it's a great way of literally. Because, you know, the Supreme Court really straightened out on that. I'm always happy to see that. It really did read into the code, and they weren't wrong. I just think it's broader, more practical. You go after that. We're blocking the way here. Yeah.
Didn't even notice it when I went by.
So I guess we're hosting. Kelly explains to me this whole system. Thank God for that. But yeah, so us and the clerk are hosting. Yeah.
Set in stone.
You did it last year. The treasurer did it. And you posted a very nice graph. There's Aaron. No, Aaron. His wife. And then texted him. I'll check with you.
Oh, I don't know. That's what I worry about with my kids. I was taking our youngest out.
It's warm in here. Open a window. Just open a window.
9:45, you didn't really say.
Oh, that one?
Not quite 9:45.
Their own space is terrible.
Did you sign this up?
Sometimes those are nobody can, it's hard to have a conversation. I guess, yeah, probably $20. It was a nice space there. I don't know if it would be big enough for your PA. Or, conference room at, Drexler, and it's nice and big.
I know, but this is a lot. Yeah.
I really wanted to get on Central Campus here. They've got to be.
But some people might not. You weren't really.
Oh, that's true.
I was interested to get this in there. I was teaching it. You go live for the city.
We have a lot of white space. Conservation they use carpenters earlier. I don't think it ever will. Probably take some. That's such a big deal space. And they hunt us. We never do. You know, it's take it
We weren't right. They go out there and
I was hoping you guys were down there.
I've even got some.
Some counties look at it different than people see it here now.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's true too.
But CRP, you're still getting money off the ground. It's a hard call. It's finding that median and having to let me do with my land as I want. You did that last time.
And we still own that one acre. I do too. Out there. Yeah.
We saw 1.3 No, it's after Boston. I came back and I had it costs. My wife is camp. No, but you're still talking not so much time.
Large, this one's large, it's sap. You know,
And the research is so many things like there's we're just fortunate how many more terms?
They can be super city.
The system was 638.
There's a reason to lunch it.
Young ones are under the ankle. What you're doing, Brian.
You didn't get it?
The 16th. Yes, she knows that. Yep, yep. I thought about
That's fine. Better to have too many, I don't know.
Missing one.
Okay, we're gonna skip back into, try to get back into the regular lineup, so is anybody here representing the Lao? Don, how are you? Okay. Good to see you again. Lindsay, you have a presentation for us?
She, back in 2022, split off the farmstead for Grant Grover, and now he's just adding on an additional 2 acres for a semi-turnaround. It is a floodplain, so it's not too big of an issue. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward.
Move approval of minor plat for Don Lau.
Second.
The 2 acres is tillable land that is coming
It's floodplain.
Floodplain, but
Yes.
tillable. Not
It's really
tillable.
not. It's
Sorry, Don, unless we ask you a specific question.
I believe Don was explaining to me that there was an old barn there, so foundation, concrete, currently not being farmed.
Okay, any other discussion? Any other questions for Lindsay?
Everything is in order, no concerns?
No concerns.
Okay, moved by Bob, second by Corey to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, carries unanimously. Thank you, Don.
Thanks.
Okay, next one up for us this morning is the Holbach. It's a second reading of 2507, rezoning from A1 to A2.
Move approval of second reading.
Second.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey to approve the second reading. Any further discussion?
Lindsay, we've had a lot of comments, and some of this is a process thing, you know, you gotta go from A1 to A2, and then they'll be coming back with plans, so. When are, like, the water and stuff like that, when will we sink our teeth into some of those things?
That would be during the subdivision process, approval process.
Okay. And that'd be water, septic, runoff,
Yep, correct. Stormwater, the whole plating. The rezone is the first step. Creating a subdivision is lengthy and time consuming and costs money, so there's no point in getting the cart before the horse if the rezone doesn't pass.
Okay. Anything, you know, right now that put any hesitation on the next step? I mean, obviously the sinkholes and stuff, that Mark needs to go back and make sure that if he does the plan, water and all that stuff needs to adhere, correct?
Correct.
To be clear also, the developer is responsible, completely responsible for building the road system within any new subdivision, correct?
Correct.
And it doesn't get turned over to the county until it meets specs and the county accepts it. The county does have the right to reject that. The
Correct.
county never has to take responsibility for it if the county doesn't want to.
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm thankful Bob asked the question he did. I had checked in last week on Wednesday, I think it was. Haven't heard back yet from the DNR. The sinkhole in the 22 hazardous mitigation plan for the county shows up on this lot. The farming, the aerial photos on it, and talking with Mr. Barlow that farms it, it appears to be more of a low depression. So I reached out to the DNR and I haven't heard back yet from them. I asked to get a response by yesterday and it didn't happen. But that sinkhole designation wasn't in the 2017 hazardous mitigation plan, so I'm like wondering, trying to get some, did LiDAR depict it? Is it, because like I said, the physical data out there doesn't correlate to the mapping data. And so knowing that going forward, like we have another chance to revisit that gives me comfort that we can vet out some of those questions that have been brought up through all the comments and better determine a path forward. So I feel more comfortable about moving forward with this today and answering those questions before we get into the platting of the subdivision.
Whether you believe it or not, truly do appreciate all of your comment, all of your work. It's an amazing process. It's very difficult and challenging for all. There are pluses and minuses to everything, but I still feel that we need to be able to do some rural development, so I still plan to vote in support for it. Any other discussion today?
Yeah, I think, once again, I'd like to echo your comments. We don't take lightly any of your stuff, so we appreciate the discussion you guys had. Mark, I hope you were listening. I hope you take good notes and make sure this is desirable, if this comes to fruition, desirable area. Working with our neighbors, making sure that we don't degrade neighbors. And your front entryway, that's my biggest concern. It just looks hokey. It will look hokey. So whatever you can do there to make some improvements. But I have some concerns, but I think I'm willing to go forward.
Before we vote, if anybody's going to want a copy of any of the documents that were presented to us today, please reach out to Shelley. I will make certain that she has a full set so that they're available to everyone as they were last week. So, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, carries unanimously. Is there a motion to set the third reading?
I'll move to set the third reading for December 9th.
16th.
Is there a best time?
Mark will be gone on the 9th if we could set it for the 16th. The following.
Does that affect any publishing? Do we have?
No.
We won't, okay. I'm okay with the 9th, or with the 16th if my colleagues are, make the motion for the 16th.
Okay, moved by Corey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob to set the reading of the third reading of 2507 for Tuesday, December 16th. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Again, please, if you have additional new information, type it up. The same process will be, you can turn it into us, and you'll have 2 minutes during that opening time frame. Darius, did you handle that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Time is set for 9:15.
9:15 or 9?
Yeah, because this started way earlier. On the 16th, it will be at 9:15 a.m.
When is public comment
But
at
we're
9?
here before that. Excuse me, yes, the meeting starts at 9. 9:15 will be the action, at 9 o'clock will be the public comment.
Come at 9.
Thank you. Okay, minutes were sent out.
Approval of the minutes.
You should be on my minute.
I hope I didn't. You can use that copy if you'd like. I will second Bob's motion.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey to approve the minutes from last
Go
week.
ahead and use that.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Claims were also sent out in advance. Any questions regarding the claims? Shelley, I didn't really understand the comment sent by Katie. She sent a comment about a Visa claim that was normally a normal billing from a company, but it was on a Visa. I don't know how that would affect anything. Do you have a concern about that?
That's something that is on our to-do list to discuss in the
it happened this time. It's one of those situations where things can be invoiced and more publicly transparent. Like when it's in paper, it will show the vendor, what was purchased and the amount, where when it's under.
So it wasn't a lack of documentation, is it?
Right, when it's
Okay.
lumped under a visa, it's just business expenses. We don't know the vendors that were paid. The public doesn't see the vendors that were paid. They don't see what was purchased. It just lumps it under visas. When we first got credit cards, it was for instances where you wouldn't pay any other way. So
Okay.
that's the discussion that needs to be had if we want to.
Right, that's policy, we need to readdress the policy and how we're gonna move forward with that, so.
We just need to limit, I mean, I understand ad hoc, yes, but ongoing or known vendors, we should set up a different, more transparent, so everybody should be going that direction. So I don't.
Agenda topic to be had.
I'd move to approve claims and authorize the auditor to issue checks.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob to authorize the auditor to issue checks to pay claims. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Chair votes aye, motion carries. You did it, Sam. Didn't have any pay changes in front of me. Okay, so last week, I received a letter from Mayor Wiedemeyer of Reedland, and he presented it to me representing the EMA board. And the letter essentially is requesting a change in supervisor representation. You all got a copy of that. Corey, you seemed to indicate last week that you intended to honor that request and let someone else. Is that where we're going to leave it at then today? And is that going to be your?
Yeah, I'm fine if either of you want to take that. I'm willing to swap out something, or to make our workload balance. So when we get into committee assignments the first of the year, or as we talk about it leading up to it, I'm fine with making some changes there. So.
And we maybe need to look at a lot of different committees. I no longer have mental health. That was a huge commitment, and with how things are going, maybe I need some mental health. But the fact of the matter is I probably need to step up and take something else. So we need to probably look at each of our board assignments.
Well, and judicial district dropped off for me at the beginning of 24. So I think we need to rebalance.
So it worked exactly what it was supposed to be. The new guy didn't have anything drop off. We did.
Actually, I think my Eldora one, I'm going to advocate to drop off.
Oh.
As a county. So.
Okay. All right. So we will change that appointment in December, or make it official January 2nd. Whatever date that was, 2nd, when we meet and discuss our assignments. Any further discussion on that? All right. Shelley, I will get you a copy so you have it for your official. In fact, I can send that over right now.
There you go.
The original.
Walmart and the assessors did a voluntary settlement for some tax disagreement. You all, I think, got a copy of that, or I passed it around. Is there a motion to accept, or at least place on file that?
I'd acknowledge the notice of the voluntary settlement and request to be placed on file.
Second, so Cassandra, I'd assume that we'll receive a little bit less money. We just take it out end in balance, or so. And this is, to me, it's like $40,000 or something. It's nothing. I mean, it's big, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. Okay.
Any further discussion?
Shelley's indicated before that it's not that this is very common, but this does happen where values are adjusted and it's after taxes are done.
Yeah. It'll be 3 years impact. And I do know when I talked to Aaron before that Walmart went across the state and did a lot of jurisdictions, so like this. Okay, thank you.
And it's my recollection that, Shelley, you can correct me, this isn't the first time we've had that with Walmart. I think they've appealed before, so.
Yeah, there might have been past settlements that are done like in May or later in the, way after evaluations and budgets are set.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Placing on file.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Landon, you're up.
Morning. Only thing on the agenda, we've got a final report of construction costs for this construction season. This was kind of just a trial run to see if this is how we want to do it, kind of on our discussion last week where we're not required to have the final vouchers come anymore. So this would be a way for me to bring the numbers from all our projects to you. We would probably do this on a project-by-project basis going forward, but this one I just summarized everything we did this year. So I'll run through them real quick. Bridge 1114 was C50, budget of 1.6, authorized amount, the bid plus any change orders is 1.227, final cost 1.218 million, a savings over our budget of 381,000 and some change. Bridge 1115, we had budgeted 900,000. Final costs there were just under 606,000, saving of 294,000. C33 paving, this is both projects combined. Our budget was 2.7 bid, plus we had a lot of change orders on this one. There was a, I guess long story short, there was an issue in our system where it wasn't paying all the quantities until we did a change order for everything. So we don't normally have change orders amounting to that much, but total final cost of $2.617 million, $82,539 under budget. That was after extending those intersections, and we also widened the shoulders in several areas there, so that's why that one was a lot closer. And then Bridge 3-1, our budget was $1 million. Total cost was $1.212 million. That was joint with Chickasaw, so we each had half that cost. So the savings on our budget, $393,947. So overall, budgeted amount for the projects was $6.2 million. Our total cost was just over $5 million. Good to be under budget. Honestly, that's a little far for me. We had a discussion about a little tighter budgeting going forward. Like I say, we'd rather be on that end of missing on the budget, but that $1.2 million that didn't get spent could have been spent elsewhere. So that affects our long-term planning when we leave that much sitting on the table. So. But yeah, overall, that was our not FY 2025 construction season projects that finished. Those were spread across the past 2 fiscal years.
Landon, I don't expect you to be able to answer this question, but in some of your free time, or maybe it'd be a good assignment for your new assistant engineer.
Perfect.
Back, I think it was probably around 2014 or so, there was some sort of an analysis done on, back then it was called deficient bridges. I think now there's a different designation for them. And I believe that we had 231 or 233 bridges at that time, and we were told that 66% of them were deficient. Could you do a reanalysis for us, or do?
Can I take 5 minutes here and pull it up?
I said I didn't expect an answer.
Or send it to us.
So on our annual report we make to the DOT every year, which gets sent to the legislature, they're poor bridges now. They were structurally deficient up until 2 years ago, I think. But we do an analysis like this.
Present that next week or next meeting.
Yeah, why don't you just put it together
Yep.
as a little report and bring it next meeting. If it's already done, that's awesome. And
yep, it'll be
save
quick.
you some time, but it'll just be easier for us moving forward with budgeting and things to encourage more bridge building if necessary.
We had 30 of them noted as poor, and several of those have been replaced, so it'll be less than 30 remaining poor.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we made great progress.
Yeah,
We were kind of trending backwards for a couple of years there, about 3 to 4 years ago, and then we made a pretty quick turn. because it was at mid-30s for several years there and hanging, and we finally made some progress again, so.
And we're replacing those with culverts or replacing with bridge?
Yep, all of the above.
Okay.
The big grant we got will be a big hit to that too, because we're gonna have 8 of those bridges that'll go off in the next 3 years or so, plus the ones we're doing ourselves, so. Making progress.
Okay.
While your building report's gonna make a request, Shelby Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Could we look at like the life cycle of the initial road, the cost, what it was to repave? And
Yep.
what the expected life cycle is?
Cost to repave was $376,940.27 or something along those lines. We
I read
expect
that
about
somewhere.
25 years. We just did this
25 years?
weekend. Yeah, we expect about 25 years out of that.
With a lot of questions, I think you heard a lot of them on the earlier discussion.
Yeah, I
on
missed some of
rezone,
them.
And I just think that would be good information for this board to see, what the life cycle cost is, what it is.
Yep.
As a percentage of tax dollars, and then the maintenance side of it, like an average cost for snow
Yep.
removal, like hours.
You bet. Yeah, and I looked at just the taxes that are in there now and the total tax dollars, not what's coming just to us, but over that 25 years, it was about 2.2 million, something along those lines. So, but I'll put that all in a
And then,
report.
was that all local property tax funded, or is there other funding sources?
Yes,
for-
that one was also all
Okay.
from Lost.
That was the other question that
Yep.
we raised. Thank you.
And then the only other less fun news, we did have some truck damage this weekend. The total amount is unclear. While we were clearing the roads, one went in the ditch and rolled. Most of the time, and unfortunately, we go in the ditch semi-regularly in those conditions when we have heavy snow and
Wait a
wind,
minute,
but.
the pictures I saw didn't show a roll, it showed.
Well, it was kind of twisted because the bucket was up, so the bucket tipped, but the truck itself stayed upright.
Okay.
So it bent the frame, so we're not cleared the cost of that, but we got it sent to insurance and we're getting a frame fabricator out to look at it and assess the damage, so I'll have more on that at a future meeting.
What was the age of that truck?
Not very old. That was 2 or 3 years. Pretty new truck.
Just slid off or something with the sander, or what was?
Yeah, he was sanding, so he had his bucket up, and he slid his front end off into the ditch, and when it went down, that bucket being up, I suppose there was too much high weight, it tipped that bucket over.
Oh, okay.
So,
Driver's okay then?
driver's good. Yep, he was shook up, but he's okay.
No other vehicles involved?
No, no.
So that might be a training thing, or with the height, having it all the way up?
Yeah.
I don't,
Really what it is he was kind of sanding and winging the shoulder off, and really, that saves time doing that, but we probably need to be more cognizant, especially when you get down to your end of your bucket, so you're at the end of your sand and your bucket's so high that we just need to stay more on do 2 passes, basically. Wing it off after we get it sanded, type of thing. It's not efficient that way, but it would save this type of incident.
yeah,
Making it much more efficient.
Right, yep.
okay. Appreciate that.
Okay, any other questions for Landon? Thank you, Landon.
Thank you.
Board committee updates for 2026. In the past, we've gone through them and determined who's going to call who. Is that what you want to do today, or you want to digest them for a while and do it next week, or what's your feelings?
I think if we take this week and break things down, look at if there's any possible openings, and then next week designate calling.
Yeah, I do know, Conservation Board, Havlick, was going to resign or retire, so I know, some people are looking at putting applications for that.
And Andy and that board, the current board is encouraging folks to apply?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
It may be more challenging this year, calling those folks on the eminent domain. It was already last year fairly challenging. This year, we're probably getting closer to something occurring with pipelines, hopefully not, but that could be a challenge for us.
And the EMS advisory, way we framed it in the committee, it was till the vote happened, and then this group would have to reorganize.
And back when I was on that committee years and years ago, before all of that, it was not this well organized. It was more of a, I'm gonna call it ad hoc committee. I don't think that I ever remember hearing the Department of Health saying that there was any kind of limitations on how long you could be on that. So it might be worth shipping it up to Darius for his opinion, but I concur with Bob. I think that it makes sense to just keep the people on that are on, because educating new people, it's a complex issue, and it's best to have some continuity there.
Yeah, and then if, once it's passed, then it would shrink down to a work group that would give us annual report.
Might not shrink down that much. One of the counties that I remember tracking back when I was on it, it remained a very large work group. So, okay, anything else on that? December and January meeting minutes, or meeting dates. I think we needed to officially set those so the public is aware of what our intentions are. We almost by law have to meet on January 2nd because we have to do any swearing in and appointments that are required by law. So that will have to be a motion to set January 2nd as our first official workday of 2026. Is there any need to, or does anyone wish to change the 23rd date? I don't know why we would, but
I have no issue with it.
I'm fine with it. So we'll meet the 23rd, the 30th, and the 2nd.
possibly, I guess we'll make a final call on later as we get close to it, but if we, for instance, didn't have much for our agenda on the 30th, since we're meeting on the 2nd, we may not be required to meet on the 30th. If, you know, if there's only come in to approve the minutes and not really nothing else. Typically, things get fairly stagnant over the holidays. People don't want to come and present and such, so.
We'll call that on the 23rd?
We'll call that at either on the 23rd or on the 16th, I would guess. Most things are scheduled at least a week in advance, correct?
Yeah, right now,
Is
other
there anything
than
on the 30th?
Landon's weekly, but
Oh.
claims get done weekly now, so that would be the only thing that it would be.
Okay.
But I think with some advance notice, we could push some claims ahead to the 23rd and
Right.
gap to the 2nd.
So we'll make that determination in a couple of weeks, but, so is there a motion to set January 2nd as our?
We just have discussed today, so we can put it on for a motion next week.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for the clarification.
It'll be like at 9 a.m.?
Sure.
On the 2nd.
Okay.
Okay, budget schedule and compensation analysis. The analysis was released. Barb brought it to us last week. We said we sort of wanted to chew it over for a week and then have a brief conversation about it today. And then I believe our intent was to release it to all of the elected officials and department heads so that they can also see where not only they fall, but they fall in comparison to their colleagues around the state. Does that kind of summarize where we were at with that?
Yep.
And I found it very interesting as I read through it. Some of the things probably need some quantifying or clarification, which, you know, we probably do anyway during the budgeting process. So Any other thoughts on that for today?
Would Barb as HR be giving a recommendation from HR perspective on salary movements? Does that happen, or does it all come from us?
Someone is going to have to go through every individual department. And I would sure hope that that would be HR in cooperation with the department head or the elected official to make the recommendations to us. That would seem to make the most sense. Makes you a little bit more busy between now and first part of January, but
I can summarize by department for department heads.
well, it's kind of already summarized by department heads. What I think Bob is saying is that it gets down to the nitty gritty of,
Right.
of ferreting out exactly what they said, and Darius, you're right there, so I'm going to use you as an example, but the report seems to indicate that the county attorney's office is fairly well compensated. That probably doesn't mean that they have to be stagnant, but someone's going to have to make that recommendation then to us at this level, what that should be.
Because the numbers we
going forward.
provided to workforce was fiscal year 26 numbers, what we had at the time. And I know when they did the comparison with ISAC, when it came to benchmarking, they used fiscal year 25. So we will need to put some consideration.
Yep.
Yeah, and look, individualize each department rather than the department average summary.
Well, and if we're discussing that, we also need to look at, you know, the several places in here, they indicated that by comparison to other counties, building and zoning, planning and zoning were higher than other counties. Someone needs to now do that comparison at this level, because our building and zoning doesn't do the same work as some other counties our size. So
I think we could take the 22 counties they used as their basis and look at duties of those counties. You know, like Lindsay does sanitarian, planning and zoning, manages the planning and zoning board meetings, the board adjustments. Look at workplace tasks on, you know, at least a grouping of that group of 22, and to see if job duties truly align, because that, you know, that could be the difference in that compensation is what are we asking of those other individuals that we're comparing to.
correct, but my point is that without job descriptions from those other counties, how do you make that official comparison? It's going to be really challenging. Is there some way to find out how they made that comparison? I guess that's what I'm kind of asking is, they tried to explain it a little bit in their analysis overview, but I didn't get great clarity there.
No, Taylor is open for questions. I can contact her and see how they collected, if they still have the data.
That would be awesome, I think, and maybe it would even be beneficial to have her come talk to us. Do you think that she would be willing to do that, or a phone conference, or?
I can contact.
Yeah, a phone would be good enough.
I have a question too. So when they do this, are they comparing hourly or are they comparing a yearly salary? Do you know?
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Time out. Based on how we operated earlier today, this isn't on as an agenda item for each office to be able to speak, so we can't have you guys, because others could make the complaint that it's not fair.
What I recommend right now is that she can talk to Taylor, get some information, but then she should be scheduling meetings with each department head, reviewing this information, so they're aware of, hey, there's some issues or gaps or maybe concerns, and then they can figure it all out in their budget process. That's what I see as the next steps.
Some input on my methodology of how it was put together, I think would be insightful.
I think the best thing I glean from it is that we're really not very far off. Well, things are, it looks pretty decent.
Yep.
You know, there's some balancing, if you will, that needs to go on, but otherwise it seems like over the years, things have been done quite appropriately. So we want to send it out to the department heads. You guys don't even have this, right?
I don't.
So some of you do, some of you don't. So Barb, please send it out to all the elected officials and department heads.
I think we at least need to get started on budget work, and then we can figure out some of these details. You know, like I was just looking at comparisons, and the comparison counties, 31% of the supervisors don't even meet weekly. So it's, you know, looking at, like I said, looking at job tasks, it's how good was the metrics we use for comparison. So Taylor can answer those questions.
Right. I'll buzz up to you after, because we need to figure out how legally we're going to be able to get that two-way conversation, because at some point it's going to be necessary, so want to make sure we do it right, so. Okay, anything else on that item? Board and committee updates.
No updates. I had a short Thanksgiving.
I had no meetings. I'm trying to find an email. Bear with me for a second. Katie Reeser reached out to me yesterday. She is working with DMAC on septic training with sanitarians, boards of health, and boards of supervisors. And there's some trainings. I'll share this email with you. But she was still looking into, there may be some funding that actually pays for the Zoom. It's a two morning Zoom next week, but I'll share this with you, and if it's something we want to look into. I think Lindsay's already aware of it, but she reached out. I told her, I said, we probably have, if somebody wants to join the meetings and learn from it, that we probably already have funding to take care of registering for it, but it would be nice if the EPA grant actually covers it. So I just thought with our time in Board of Health and everything, it might be for at least one of us to know, and relevant for growth that we discussed earlier this morning, kind of having some Board of Supervisor knowledge of septics and whatnot, how that relates to development and encroachment. So I'll share this with you, and you guys can disseminate it.
Okay, thank you.
Just to let you guys know, you think I'm just a city kid, but I do have a septic system. So.
Just not very many gravel roads.
That's why all those turkey and deer are always in your backyard. Grass grows greener, right, above the septic? All right. I did not have any last week, again, because of Thanksgiving, so. Anything else to be brought before us this morning?
Do we adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are adjourned.